Welcome to another Cleverdix podcast. In this podcast, we interview Alex Dunkley. Alex is probably the top young swimmer in New Zealand open water at the moment. He really has been winning most of the races. We had a great chat with him. We talked about how he started swimming at about 7 and did his first harbour crossing at 10. He's now 18 years old, and he's been really knocking things off. He goes training in Australia to pick up some skills there and has done some international swimming. At the moment, he seems to be focusing on the 10K events, so that's good. We talked quite a lot about his approach to training, his eating strategies, and he told us that he was going to target the 10K at Taupo's Epic. And since we've recorded it, he's actually won that again, so he's actually done a three-peat there, so he's pretty good. It was a great chat, and it's good talking to somebody who is younger than us. I think you'll enjoy this one. Well, welcome to another Cleverdix podcast. In this podcast, we're talking to Alex Dunkley. Hey, Alex, how are you going?
Yeah, not too bad. Pleasure to be on the podcast with you two. So, looking forward to a good chat between us.
Fantastic. So what we normally start off with is just give you an opportunity to sort of tell us your swimming story, maybe how you started or the key highlights from your point of view, and then we'll just go along and just start getting into some questions.
Sweet as. So, my name's Alex Dunkley. I'm, competitive open water swimmer from Auckland. I started at a young age at 7 when I got pulled, or Dad pulled me around to complete one of the little swims as a little youngster, and then just slowly progressed my way through. I think it was the age of 10 I did my first proper open water swim, which was the harbour crossing. I still remember that swim. It was
Well, it wasn't that long ago, to be fair, huh? You're not that old, dude.
8 years.
What do you remember about that? What stuck?
I just remember standing on the boat ramp, and I was just, it was the first ever time I had butterflies in my stomach, and I was crapping myself before that. I was scared. Yeah, it was. I remember that vividly.
Was it just because of the sort of open water, or a different kind of event or race, or?
I'd done anything that long before. Club president at the time chauffeured me across. So without him, I wouldn't be here sitting in this chair. So, but yeah, it was definitely. I was just a scared little kid at the time, I guess, and I'm going against all these adults. It was pretty scary.
I'm guessing you probably did fairly well, though.
I think I finished. I wasn't too far from mid-pack. I think I was. I surprised myself with how well I did. So
Alex, what have you been up to for the last couple of months?
Been traveling around and also competing at Junior World Champs in Italy. That was a huge eye-opener. Compared to anything I've done before, it's just another level again. So, it was a huge eye-opener.
And when you say it was different, I mean, different in terms of level of competition or the way that they run the event. Tell us a little bit about it.
I mean, everything was completely different. Obviously being, I guess, thrown in with the best in the world in under 19s is, I sort of got put in my place is the way to put it. These guys, I mean, we just went with a coach and a team manager, and that was it. And we looked at the French team, and they had a psychologist, a massage. They had it. I think it was 9 people on the team.
Wow.
It was the way that other teams do things, just picking up those little bits just to try help myself. I mean, I'm a long way away from being up there at the top, and I sort of know what directions I need to head now after that race. A lot to take in from that race, that's for sure.
Nice, man. So it's given you a couple of learnings in a slightly new direction. Surely it doesn't involve more training though, right? You can't train more than what you do.
Yes, I think I do. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely. I've been training with a squad over in Noosa in Australia, um, and that's just another level of what it's like here in New Zealand. I think over three weeks we pushed out 130 k's. I think it was
Wow.
almost 140 k's that we pushed over 3 weeks, and we're virtually averaging about 7.5 k's in a session. It was
Okay.
pretty darn sore at the end of it, but all worth
Yeah.
it. So
Yeah, man. So what do you do on a normal day then? Like prior, what does your sort of training regime look like? Let's go like a year ago, for example, as a 16 or 17-year-old.
yeah, it would be wake up in the morning at 5, yeah, just before 5. Head off to training about 5:30, and then stretch for a bit, jump in, swim for 2 hours, thereabouts. Every now and then I would do like 30 minutes extra if I could. Um, and then it would be off to school, go to
Yeah.
school, put up with that, and then back to the pool straight after school. So it was a pretty tough, grueling day. So I think it was like 4 o'clock. We'd start training in the afternoon, and yet again another 2 hour session virtually every day.
Yeah.
We'd have, I think the Wednesday night was just one training in the morning. So, but yeah, it's obviously Sunday's a rest day and Saturday's only one training. But yeah, it's pretty grueling, I guess, just staring at a black line all day.
Yeah. Do you have many other sort of long distance swimmers that you can train with, or is it a pretty small bunch in New Zealand?
I guess I got one other guy. In my, I mean, all of us boys. There's a point where we can sort of give each other a race in our club. But yeah, really in the distance stuff, I got one other guy in my squad. Where, as say, I went over to Australia and there was 8 of us that were all battling it out, and we're all pretty close, and we're chasing after the guy or the best guy in Australia. So there's sort of levels between us, and it was good because you just push the next person, push the next person. If someone was having a bad day, there's always someone there that you can give a run. So that was always good over there. So
Yeah, it
Yeah.
does sound like it would be good to have more people doing the same sort of events as yourself. It's yeah.
yeah, it's pretty tough over here. There's not a lot. I mean, sort of in us us young fellas, there's not a lot of. I mean, there's a few of us, but there's not a lot of us people that are doing open water. Yeah, you can probably count them on your hands. Really, I think.
So why do you think that is, Alex? Because I mean, obviously there's that age-old debate, right? You go down to the local pool and you can't find a lane because the local swim squad's there and there's 400 kids and their parents and there's nowhere to move. But those little guys, for some reason, A, don't participate in the local sort of swim races outdoors, and B, when they do stop swimming in the pool, it's like I don't know, they've had enough of swimming and that's it. They go and I don't know, maybe play water polo or take up golf. What are we doing wrong?
Um, I'm not too sure. I mean, we've only really had, I guess, if you're looking at what I do, the 10K open water racing, we've only had one ever Olympian in the sport, and there's really no, like, it's pretty tough being in my position now. There's not a lot of what's ahead of me. It's sort of down to
Mm,
what I look into. It's sort of self research into what I do next, which is pretty.
mm,
I mean, it's pretty tough working out what you got to do because I mean, there's only sort of one person you can lean on, and I mean, I've asked him for tips and whatnot, and he's been blooming handy. Kane's been so handy to talk to. I've chatted to him a couple of times, and yeah, he's got a definite wealth of knowledge. But I mean, there's not a lot out there, I guess, for what I do, and I mean, half these kids probably don't want to sit looking at the bottom of the pool for 2 hours straight. I guess
mm.
that might be another reason.
Yeah, yeah. It's not the easiest of sports, hey.
No, not at all. A lot to think about during the swims, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so I have on a couple of occasions I've helped the guys out some of the Ocean Swim Series events on an IRB as a crew member, and just helping out with some of the lifeguard stuff. And it must be pretty lonely for you out there, dude, because I don't think I've ever seen you swimming with a pack or with anybody around you, right? It's relatively, a couple of 100 meters into the race, and you're sort of at the front pushing it. Maybe there's a straggler or two hanging on to you for a little while, but
Yeah.
generally you're out there hammering it out on your own, right? That's also got to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, there's a few boys that definitely give me a run for my money. So obviously, I had Louis last year. I
Yep.
was expecting him to sort of chase after me in that at Taupo.
Yep.
Lan, another tough competitor. They always give me a run for money. I mean, it's you never know who turns up on the day. I mean, the harbour crossing, that there was four of us that were sort of battling it out to the line there. But yeah, if I'm in that position of swimming by myself, it is pretty tough to sort of keep your head in it, to just, I guess, keep pushing on from where you are, because it's pretty easy to just sort of fall into
Mm.
that state of sort of relax and just
Mm.
sort of back off where you are. But I mean, I've definitely gotten better at that, of just trying to keep pushing, keep going. It's it's so easy to just sort of drop a gear, I
100%.
guess.
Yeah. Because if you look at it, when you get to that world level, everybody's very close. I'm using my sort of words loosely, right? But you're all going
Yeah,
hammer 10Ks out within a relatively similar pace, and
yeah,
yet somehow or the other, over the last, I guess, kilometer, 500 meters, that's when it's, the boys are separated from the men's, and everybody's touching for split seconds over a 10K race. It's
yeah,
ridiculous, right? So
yeah.
without the speed and without the tactics and all of that stuff, you're just a middle of the packer, right? So somehow you've
Yeah,
got to figure out how to be near the front of the pack, and then still have the gears to change down and accelerate, right? Surely that must mean, from a training perspective, you're still in the pool, you're still doing hundreds and 200s and 400s. Do you compete at a pool level to keep you honest, or?
yeah. I obviously have to have both components in there, I guess. But I'm in the pool virtually all the time.
Yeah.
Hence the frizzy hair. But yeah, I'm definitely in the pool, competing. I've sort of backed off in this past, I guess, 6 months to a year, with pool competing, but that's just because I've had quite a bit going on, just in life
Mm,
and whatnot. So I've just sort of backed off, but I'm getting back into it. You definitely do need that pool aspect, but I mean, open water is completely different in the pool. Obviously, your currents and whatnot, so that definitely changes
mm,
how races go, and then all the little tips and tricks that you pick up, like drafting and whatnot, it's
mm,
another. I couldn't believe it when I went to Australia. Just when it came to drafting, how much of a difference it made. It went from being one of the hardest 10Ks I'd done at, say, Taupo, and that was all by myself, and then you jumped in and you're swimming with, I guess, say 10 other guys in a pack, and it soon becomes one of the easiest swims you've done, and then you just sort of gruel it out to the end and
mm.
try out touch each other. It's a complete contrast, I guess.
Yeah. So I would imagine that means you've got to find the time and the money to get around the world and compete at a higher level, right?
Yeah, so that's the stage at the moment. Is looking forwards and out there. So I think hopefully, in a couple of years, I can try to progress myself enough to sort of be at a stage where I can do pretty well at, say, a world
Mm,
champs rather than a junior world champs. And I mean, looking out for those, I guess, World Cup swims, which are around the
mm,
world. But yeah, most of them are in Europe, so they cost a fortune. But
mm,
yeah, I guess there's a couple swims which are in Hong Kong and China and stuff like that, which are the cheapest swims, which will probably be the ones which I'll look forward to in, say, the next couple of years. So just wait for that calendar to come out for the
yeah.
world circuit and see if I can get myself over there.
Yeah, I suppose 10K seems to be the kind of thing that there is. I don't know if you get shorter open water ones, but there are also longer ones. I was kind of interested. I was guessing that you were sort of the 10K was kind of where you're at from what your conversation was. I was just wondering if there was any thoughts of other, shorter, longer kind of things that you were considering.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the 10K is the way to go because that's, I guess, the Olympic distance. If I can make it that far, I'll definitely try my best to try and make the Olympics. That would be obviously the end goal. But yeah, I mean, the shorter races, yeah, they're not too bad. I mean, I do. I don't get why, but I like the 10K. I know it's a booming long way, but yeah, the 10K is always good. I mean, any of the shorter swims are also good. I mean, I just love swimming, so that sort of ticks it. And I mean, the longer stuff is, I mean, it's a completely different training to what I'm doing. That'll be another extreme. I guess I got to obviously work the mind. The mind would be the big part to work on me if I wanted to do that longer stuff, I guess. But I mean, you never know in the future. I might give a cook straight or a taupo a go. You never know. Just see what happens.
Yeah, you've got plenty of swimming ahead of you, so you don't need to make all the choices now. You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Do you mix any other activities into your training, gym or running, or I don't know, anything for your
So
mental?
usually we usually have two gym sessions a week, or sort of dry land sessions a week, or it sort of switches between yoga or dry land. So we usually do one yoga session to two dry land sessions each week, and then we have the morning off. And sometimes I'd be in the gym then as well. So yeah, it sort of just plays around with time and how we're going in the week if I can fit it in. So
And you doing the Ocean Swim Series this year?
yes, yep, I will be. I think I'm in like 5 events this year. I think.
Couple of new races, a couple of new venues. I think Nelson is a new one. Should be pretty cool.
Yeah, can't wait for that. I loved Nelson. That was always a great weekend away. It was always pristine weather down there.
Yeah, they do have good weather there.
And tell me on a bit of a personal note, do you mind taking us through your hair care routine in the mornings, please, Alex? Because you've got quite a lot of blonde hair going on there. What's it like managing that mop after a swim in the morning, dude?
There's not a lot that goes on really. I barely ever use a hairbrush to be honest, but yeah, I guess the chlorine's just nuked it over the years, and yeah, it's just a frizzy mess.
I'd like to say I can relate, but I can't.
Yeah. So when the water warms up in Auckland, do you do more sort of open water training during the sort of warmer times, or do you sort of stick around in the pool?
I mean, I try to get out in the ocean. I love. I mean, during COVID and lockdown and whatnot, I was training with the likes of Donald Barry, their sort of group at Takapuna Beach in the morning, and that was one heck of an experience. I mean, we were swimming the whole year. I mean, yes, it was freezing cold, and I mean that was a huge commitment that I could, yeah, survive the cold. I didn't think I could because I mean, when I first jumped in, I was shivering like crazy. But no, I loved that experience of just seeing the silhouette of Rangitoto and swimming out there with a beautiful sunrise in the morning. It was pretty special to see every morning. Was this what beautiful peace we have? And I mean, yeah, I try to jump back in the ocean every now and then. But yeah, definitely here and there when I've got, say, no training on in the morning, like the Wednesday morning that we usually have off, I might go have a dip with them and just go enjoy myself in the morning.
Do you find it tricky to race with a wetsuit in some events, and then obviously for example, in Italy at World Juniors, you're without a wetsuit? You know, from a technique perspective and a training
Yep.
perspective, what is that like? I mean, I appreciate the fact that you're obviously in the pool training without a wetsuit most of the time.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, there obviously is the massive difference between the wetsuit and the non-wetsuit. I mean, weird to say it, but I do prefer the non-wetsuit. Well, I guess it's sort of not, but it is compared to everybody else. But yeah, the suit that we wear has definitely got a lot less buoyancy to the wetsuits. And I mean, every wetsuit's different. So, like comparing the Blue 70 to the Arena, the Blue 70 definitely had more buoyancy than the Arena, but the Arena's FINA approved, hence why I've gone that way. Um, but yeah, there's, I mean, I haven't had really I have had a choppy swim in the Arena wetsuit, and I mean, I sort of prefer, in choppy conditions, I prefer the non wetsuit. I just
Okay.
find it's easier to sort of get my way through the waves, is my way
Yeah.
of saying it. I sort of find with a wetsuit, you sort of go over the top of every wave and it just stuffs you, and you sort of feel like your wheel spinning with your arms because your arms are coming out of the water. But
Have you
I
ever
mean, you
felt like
sort of,
that, Jim?
No, I was thinking, I wonder what that feels like.
sorry, guys.
No, it's all good.
See, we the guys at the back of the pack like us, Alex, we feel like we're going in reverse, not arms over doing wheel spins. We're going in reverse.
Yeah, it's definitely an experience, and I mean, I just sort of got to adapt my body position in the
Yeah,
water to sort of getting through the wave rather than over the
yeah,
top of the wave. Because I
yeah,
mean, finding that extra bit on your competitors is crucial. I mean, if you can adapt to the water a heck of a lot quicker to them, that's, I guess, how many seconds you can say or you can gain on them,
yeah,
which might help you just break away. Because if they can sit on your draft, it's blooming hard to break them. That's for
yep,
sure. And I've
yep,
found that out over the years how hard it
yeah.
is to break someone from a draft.
Have you ever just like stopped and forced them forward and sit on their toes?
Yep. Definitely played those games before where I've, say, taken the goggles off just to, I guess, tuck in behind them just to save a bit of energy. Other times I've sort of, I guess, just swam out the side and round and behind them. I've just found little tricks, I guess, over the years,
Yep,
and it's worked. And just sort of
yeah,
tucked them behind them a couple of times. I used that at the Mount, I guess, when Harrison Cook gave me a good run for my money off the start. I tried to just go for it from the start, and it wasn't working. So I sort of backed off, and then we got to the buoy, and I was like, "Go for it!" And then I managed to pull a gap on him. So yeah, I guess it works sometimes, and it doesn't
yeah.
sometimes. So
Nice.
So,
What?
so Alex, you end up with quite different strokes depending on the conditions. Are you able to sort of practice the different styles of swimming in the pool, because the pool's never really choppy, right?
no.
So do you put a sort of conscious effort in trying different styles of swimming in the pool?
I mean, I've sort of just learnt over the years. It's pretty hard to obviously do it in the pool, but yeah, I've sort of just learnt over the years what sort of works and what conditions. And I mean, every time's different, but I mean, when it comes to choppy stuff, I mean, I'm giving away tips here, but I try to get up and over the wave, but then obviously get through the wave as well. So you sort of go for a more. It was something I learnt from Sebastian Prescott, who swam not long ago. He was getting up and over the waves, and that was something I learnt before he gave up swimming. Was that he was getting up and over the wave compared to me just trying to keep my standard technique in the choppy conditions. And I mean that's a huge nugget of gold that I've learnt over the years.
Have you ever done that, Duncan? Up and over?
Only when I get hit by a wave that I haven't seen. Hey, Alex, what you mentioned that the arena wetsuit is FINA approved as opposed to, from what I'm aware, all the other brands, Blue 70, Zone 3, Orca, none of them have got a FINA approved wetsuit, right? So what makes a wetsuit FINA approved? Or is it just a
So
process?
I believe I haven't really looked into it too much, but I believe I think it's Orca. Orca's FINA approved. But so when it comes to me competing at an international stage, all your suits have to be FINA approved, and
Mhm.
so I think it just puts them at sort of like an evil playing field. So I think it's like a certain thickness, so you can't
Got you.
have too much buoyancy. So I mean, if I was to say have gone to Italy and have had a blue 70 wetsuit and that's all I had on the race day and say it was too cold and it was 18 degrees, I wouldn't be able to swim.
You would have been disqualified, yeah?
Yeah, I wouldn't be allowed in the water, actually. I wouldn't get through marshal or the accreditation booth.
Okay.
But yeah,
it's... Because there's... So what are the rules like? So under 18 degrees, you have to wear the wetsuit. Over 18 is a normal suit, a normal race suit, right? Or an open water race suit.
Yeah, so I think it's changed recently. So before it used to be under 18 was compulsory wetsuit, 18 to 20 was optional, and then 20 plus was wetsuit. And obviously when it was in that 18 to 20, everybody just went wetsuit. So it's now gone to 20, 18. Was it 18 degrees? 20 degrees. I think it's gone to 20 degrees.
Okay.
Oh, whatever it's gone.
Whatever it is, I do that. They change it quite a bit.
Yeah, yes. Obviously, depending on the temperature that you obviously have to swim compulsive. Yeah, you have to swim in either the non-wetsuit or wetsuit.
And are you allowed to wear a watch in like World 10K Champs, for example?
I'm not too sure on that. I don't think you're allowed to because it's sort of. I mean, you can look at it and pace yourself.
Bit of an
So,
aid, hey?
Yeah, I guess it's an aid, but it's also, I guess, a hazard because you got to have short fingernails, toenails, no piercings on your body, obviously.
Seriously? Even though you've got a wetsuit on?
So yeah, they check all that stuff before we go and get our tattoos put on us. So it's all pretty serious on that checking overseas.
Wow! But yet they let you swim with that blonde mopper hair. You're not allowed to have tattoos and piercings, but you can have. Okay.
It goes into a cap, so it's fine. But I mean, I lose my cap half the time, so I can't really say that.
Hey, we were chatting a little earlier about obviously you do, from what I'm hearing, probably, I don't know, 20, 30, 40 Ks a week in the pool as a sort of routine type week.
Yeah.
When you get to a race, and again, there's ocean swimming and there's lake swimming, right? Ocean swimming, to your point earlier, swimming through the waves, currents, winds.
Yeah.
Do you, and have you learned to like sort of stand on the side and sort of pre-plan your route with regards to which way the wind's blowing, which way the tide is pushing? So if we take, for example, Russell to Pahia.
Yeah.
That I've swum it, I don't know, 3 or 4 times, and I think all 3 or 4 times have been completely different. So what worked one year wasn't going to work the next year, right?
Yeah. I mean, every swim's different, and I mean, if you can, I think Brent Foster's a key example of it. He was someone that I've been told would sit up there and watch what happens, say the day before or the morning before, and so like the North Head swim, you always see him if you're watching. There's always someone going really, really wide, and he knows that current will pull him right round the outside. And I mean, the first time I ever did it, I thought, oh yeah, just go for the inside route. I'll be fine. He went wide, and I was like, "Is he? What's he on? Is he crazy?" And he just, I saw him beside me. Next minute, he's gone. He's a mile up the road, and obviously that's. I mean, every time's different. Pahia to Russell, I know there's that big sweep that comes through the middle of the channel. But I've definitely gotten better at looking into what's. I mean, if say in the morning, if I've got time, go sit out there, or if it's hopefully not pitch black in the morning when it's a race, then I can see the water. But yeah, it's different every time, so it's hard to tell. But I mean, if you can get there early in the morning, I'd have a look.
Yeah,
and try and make a plan.
And do you get nervous before a swim? I mean, if I think back to when I was sort of 17, 18, I was quite big in the sort of track and field and cross country, and I used to psych myself out completely to the extent that my stomach would be upset and I'd need to go to the toilet 400 times before a race.
Yeah.
You always look cool, calm, and collected, right? So I'm assuming
Yeah.
that's what you're feeling on the inside.
Yeah. I mean, I've very rarely I've been, I guess, nervous before a race. I mean, I went into Worlds just going, just do the best you can do. I got nothing on my shoulders. I don't know where I'm going to finish. So just go in there and have fun. That's all I got to do every time I swim. And I mean, that first swim I did as a kid in the harbour crossing, my stomach was turning and butterflies going through me. But I think I just sort of, if it's an important race, I sort of just get into that mentality and just sort of shut everyone out. I guess it's a bit rude, but I've had it a couple of times where we did the, what was it, the Bean Roxham, which got canned, oh, not canned, but pulled in because it was too choppy, so we had to do the triangle course. And
Yep.
I knew that was, I think that was the last race I needed to tick off to seal the series up, and I think that was the first time I was I could win the series, and I had Lan, my fiercest competitor, turn up on the day, and I sort of just pushed everyone aside. I knew I was in a good place. That it's choppy. That's how I like it. Sort of the men from the boys, and I just sort of, I guess, pushed everyone away. I just sort of did my own thing. I don't. I'm like, some people decide to go for plans before races. I sort of just take it how it is, because every race is, I guess, different. Like I said before, it's, you never know what's going to be served on your plate. You just go into it and do the best you can do. And I mean, something my dad always says before every race: have fun. That's all I got to do. So
Well, that's why your dad's a legend, right? Because that's what it's
indeed,
about,
he
right?
is.
I mean, if you're not enjoying it, what's the point of doing it, man?
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean,
So,
I wouldn't be here
what
without. Oh,
with
you go.
without your dad?
Oh, both parents. I mean, if it
Yeah,
wasn't for Dad, I guess I wouldn't be swimming. Oh,
exactly
more
right.
so
But
Nana, I guess.
they're always at all the events supporting you. That's awesome, eh? You must have some
Yeah, no,
awesome memories of traveling around New Zealand.
yep, yeah. I can't thank them enough. I mean, the amount of money, time they've forked into me, it's, yeah, I can't thank them enough, because this journey's been one heck of a journey, and I
Yeah,
wouldn't be here without them.
exactly, man.
So, just sort of on that thing, can you remember starting to swim, or maybe your first ever swim coach? Or is that too
Uh,
far in the past?
so I've been shown videos from me as a child, but I guess I don't really remember them. I there's a video of me when I was, I think, 18 months old, and I had my little water wings on, and I jump in the pool, and
Yeah.
I was 18 months old, and I jumped straight into the pool by myself, hopped out, jumped back in again. I was a water baby from a kid, and then I started off at the water hole, and I think I got to the age of 5, and then I jumped out a water hole, because, yeah, I guess that's when I started to. I was crying during sessions and whatnot. I was sort of. I mean, the waterhole's a great club, but yeah, it was just something I look back at now, and my parents have told me I was just being pushed too big, too young, was the way to put it. But no,
Yeah.
they've got a great definitely under fives swim school. And I mean, I not long ago I was swimming with them at their pool. So I mean, I've still got the respect for them, because yet again they're a part of this journey that I've been on. All these special people that have helped me out along this way. I can't thank them enough.
Mm. What do you think of while you were doing your travels over the last couple of months? Neil Agus set a new world open water distance record. I don't know if you've seen much of that.
Yeah, saw a bit of it, and it's just crazy.
That's
It's too far.
crazy, crazy stuff, eh? 61 hours. 60
I
hours. Could you do
I
that?
I probably not.
Uh,
Definitely way too long.
I seriously doubt if I could actually just stay awake for 60 hours, let alone move forward in the water. Hey, what
Yeah.
do you think about that type of swimming?
Um, I doubt I could do something like that. I think the mind's a big part of it. Definitely. But I, I mean, I could probably talk myself into it over in a couple of years if I got
I can
serious
help you
into
with
it.
that. I'll help you.
Thank you. But yeah, I definitely don't think like thinking now. Right now, I go, that's just crazy stuff. I mean, when we saw Caitlin do the double crossing at Taupo, that was just crazy stuff. That's what I thought. Jono with his some crazy stuff. It's phenomenal that these guys can keep going for that long and keep himself in it for that long. It's
Yeah, I'm with you on
blooming
that.
impressive.
It's impressive, but it doesn't appeal to me.
No, I would say that now. I guess a cook straight would be fine. I could survive the. I guess depends on what time I do, but yeah, I reckon I could survive a cook straight. I mean, it would be blooming choppy if I was to do it, but I mean, I guess it's something I'd eye up in the future. I mean, I wouldn't mind giving Andy's record a good nudge, bring it back home to the
I was
Kiwis.
gonna go there. Yeah, nice
That
man.
would be so cool.
Have you met Andy before?
No, I didn't get a chance to meet him when he came over. I was trying to see if I could. I mean, if he would come to Auckland, I'd try to reach out to him and see if I could catch a chat with him or whatever, go for a
Uh,
session and swim with him. But no, I
from the
missed out.
little bit of time that Jim and I spent with him, he is an amazing guy,
Yeah,
and he's got so much time for other swimmers and young and
yeah,
upcoming swimmers.
yeah,
I'm pretty sure that if you reached out and sent him a text or a whatever you guys do these days as 18-year-olds, I don't know what you do,
yeah,
Snapchat or send him whatever it is, he would love to
yeah,
have a chat with you, dude. And
yeah.
I'm also pretty sure that you could give his record a good go.
Yeah, I mean, he is blooming phenomenal with all the sums that he's achieved. But I mean, you never know. I might be able to do it. I might be a mile off. You never know. Conditions might go absolutely kaput on me. But hey, it would be something pretty cool if I could give it a nudge in, say, a couple of years or in a few years' time.
Yeah,
But obviously, a long way away. I mean, I got to see where the water takes me at the moment. So
yeah,
I mean, I've sort of looked around at other sports, I guess, just to try fill in things. But I mean, I'm in a pretty good space. It's just that factor of not knowing what's in front of me is pretty hard. It's pretty tough to see that. I mean, there's no real pathway, is the way to put it. There's
yeah,
no pathway ahead.
yeah.
It's tough having that in your mind.
Yeah, it is quite tough. Eh? Did you ever consider? I mean, it was more of a sort of 90s, 2000 scenario where a lot of sort of South African, Australian, and Kiwi guys would go across to the States and spend a little bit of time in the States in whatever
Yeah.
format it was, be it just joining training camps or joining a university there, anything like that that's ever crossed your path?
I think I wasn't really. I mean, with like the unis and whatnot in America, I was a bit like meh. I sort of, I'll say it, I wasn't the biggest fan of school. I was there to eat my lunch, I guess is the way to put it. Um, but I mean, the closest thing to that would probably be going over to Australia and training with the squad up there in Noosa. That was, I mean, it's a massive. I can't thank. What's his name? Hilton Brown's son Andrew. He got me the link over there, the Goat Island swim. He asked me what I wanted to do in the future, and I said, I mean, I wasn't really too sure. And he said he then gave me or JR's details, the coach over there, and we managed to work out. And I've been over, I think 3-4 times now, and I mean, the improvement I've had in just say 3 weeks has been huge. But to definitely, if I was to do like a decent stint over there, that would probably be where I'd end up. I mean, that last trip I went over there, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, I'll be honest, the first 2 trips I went over there, I hated it. It was terrible. Just that level of intensity over there is just crazy. Usually like a Monday morning training here would be, sort of like 4 1000s, and that was our main set. It would be 4 1000s. You'd sort of stretch out, just sort of feel yourself, because when you have Sunday off, you feel like crap. Nope, you jump straight in a Monday morning. You're being thrashed hard. It was like 10 400s on like 5 minutes, and it was blimmin' hard. But that's the mentality they've got over there, and it's also good having those boys there, because they're pushing you along. They don't care that I'm a Kiwi, and I don't care that they're Aussies. Yeah, they're Aussies, but I'll give them a run.
I see there's a lot of guys these days that will swim, for example, 800s and 1500s at the Olympics or World Champs, and then step up into the 10K at the end of it.
Yeah.
So again, that's just an indication of the level of speed that you guys are actually going on in a 10K event. Man, it's crazy.
Yeah, that the 1500 and 800, I'll be honest, I'm pretty crap at. I haven't really set a good pool swim in a while. I don't know the difference between Lan and I. I think it's like a minute the last time I swam it. He absolutely thrashes me in the pool. But I managed to I guess pull a gap or give him a good run in the open water to him in races. So you do need that pool speed, but it's completely different in the open water. So I couldn't get over the fact when there was also a 3K knockout swim, which got run for the first time. We went to Junior Worlds, and I'm swimming up against guys in a 1500 meter swim, and their PBs are 15 minutes for a long course 1500, and I think I'm like a 1630 or some pretty crap compared to them. And these guys are swimming 15 minutes for 1500, and I'm a mile behind them. But when we get to the finish line, I'm say 10 seconds behind them. I don't get how I haven't been able to, I guess, whether it's my recipe before a race or I just don't know what it is. I've never been able to, I guess that's my issue when I race, is starting out fast. That's my issue. I've always managed to sort of progress and get better during my races. A key example was, I don't know if either of you guys saw or anybody's seen, but my 5K at Taupo a couple years back, Lan had, I think it was like 200 meters, 150 meters on me with a lap to go in the 5K.
That's huge.
I managed to shut him down. And I think I don't get how I did it, but I managed to do it. And just coming into that last buoy, I guess that I could beat him. It was like I had that spark in me to, I guess, run him down is the way to say it. And it came down to the wire, but to pull that gap back, it sort of shows that I get better during the race for some reason, but I just can't. I start crap, and I'm working on it. But that was yet again something I learned in at Italy, was I started crap. That was my instant. That's the thing I circle the big time, was I started off poorly, and that sort of just put me on the back foot from the start. I was chasing that front pack, where I think if I got myself settled in a good place in that front pack off the start, I think I could have been in with a better shot, I guess is the way to put it. Because it was a blooming tough race swimming by myself, but I think if I could have been in the pack, I think, my chances could have definitely been bigger. And I guess that 3K also helped me look at that and go, man, that pack made the swim a lot better than what it was. Because, I finished 23rd in the 10K and 18th in the 3K knockout, and I wasn't that far behind the top guys in the other age groups and my age group. So, yeah.
Well, like you say, it's experience, right?
Yeah.
It's good having something clear to work on as well.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely having. It's good now that I can. Some of the races that I do, they've got a live stream on the swims, and I can watch back at what I did and what I didn't do wrong. That was the first swim I guess I looked back at, and I could watch back and go, that's where I made a mistake. And it's good having that.
Yeah.
So
yeah. You learn from your mistakes, not the things that you do well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Is there prize money in any of these races in Europe?
So I think world champs, and some of those World Cup swims there is. So I think it's like the top 10 guys get paid out for it. Um, some decent coin, but yeah, I think Australia, there's money on the line at Australian champs, and
Okay.
then yeah, I think all around, and it depends on the country, but yeah, some places have prize money on the line.
Do you reckon if you took all of your talent and your skill sets and your ambition to drive yourself hard physically and threw it into another sport, you could make it work?
I've been tempted on this. I mean, ever since I was a little kid, my mum would take me to took me down to Shed 10 when the America's Cup was on, and when it was in San Fran, and watching that defeat to America was pretty tough. And I've always thought being a grinder on one of those boats would be pretty darn cool. I don't know why the grinder, but I've always thought that would be such a cool job. And I think I've got that. I mean, it would probably be completely different if I was to give it a go, but that I think I've got pretty darn good upper body strength. But there's probably other elements to it. But I've thought about that as a. I mean, I've seen. I mean, you look at the team. It's people that have been brought in from other sporting codes. Whether I guess peek my head into that in say future, I don't know, but we'll see what happens.
That's interesting, man. I'll keep my eyes open for that. Hey, Jim?
Yeah,
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 absolutely.
it's just something that's fascinated me for some reason, but you never know. There's a few people I've been talking to about it, but I mean, I'm still in the pool at the moment, and I probably won't throw the pool stuff away because I mean, if you jump out the pool for a day or so, you feel what it's like, and I mean, to jump out completely and go for that would be, yeah, I don't think I can do it. So,
While
yeah,
you're
we'll see.
loving the swimming, you should just stick with it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've been through pretty tough times. I mean, I'll be honest, COVID was pretty hard. Just that nothing going on. It was cool, but it was just the fact no racing, no nothing like that was going on. It was sort of the same thing over and over again. I sort of wasn't
Yeah.
liking it, but I mean that sunrise in the morning definitely was. When I look back at it now, it was just amazing. But yeah, I've definitely gotten better. I'm now enjoying it a lot more than what it was to me. Say earlier this year. Earlier this year, I was in a pretty bad space. I'll say it, but yeah, I was in a pretty bad space earlier this year. Definitely leading up to Taupo was pretty hard for me because having Louis Clark, really top New Zealand pool swimmer coming into, I think he's like 20 something, jumping in and racing me, I was crapping my pants because I had no clue what he's going to put on show. And yeah, I couldn't believe that race when it all panned out.
Oh, that's awesome.
If I recall correctly, you did get you had a little bit of reaction to the cold down in Taupo, right?
Yeah, that was. I don't know what I put it to. Obviously, the Swimming New Zealand write up put it to, I think it was cold, but I don't think it was. I think there was, looking back at it, there's a lot to that I took away from it. I
Yep.
mean, obviously, oh no, I think Swimming New Zealand put it down to a cramp, but I think
Okay.
it was the cold. Um, and I think just that recovery between the races, because it was just a couple of hours between each race, and that was
Yeah.
crazy putting it all on one day. And I left my race togs on, or I guess the open water suit on, and I think that was a silly mistake of mine. I mean, yes, it's a pain in the ass putting them back on again, but I think they're almost compressing on you. They're blooming tight on you,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I think leaving that on was not a good idea. As well as, I guess, refueling. I think
Yeah.
that might be where I lacked it. I tried to
What do
take in as
you?
much as I could, but I mean, my body was saying I was full, but obviously I wasn't.
Yeah. Well, a couple of things there, right? One is I'm guessing the pool you're training in is 24, 25, 26 degrees.
Yeah,
So when you're jumping into Lake Taupo at, I don't know, 18 or whatever it was,
Yeah.
it's significantly different, right? And you're spending a lot of time in there, so it takes a bit of getting used to, number one. And number two is um, definitely the waiting around in between events is hard, right? And
Yeah.
there's, what Jim and I have witnessed at ice swimming, for example, is a
Yeah.
whole process that you've got to go through to sort of almost come down a little bit after your swim and then reheat. So yeah, definitely take those tugs off next time, dude, and probably.
Yeah.
What do you feel with? I mean, what do you eat in between swims?
Well, obviously with that, usually before a race, I would heavily carb load.
Yep.
I mean,
As in
not,
the day before or like the morning
yeah,
of?
the day before would definitely be a I guess a heavy carb load. So
Yep.
Mum always makes a chicken bacon pasta, which is always
Yep.
really good. But
Nice.
that's always the go-to meal before a race.
Yep.
But yeah, in the morning, I guess it's cereal and what I usually have porridge or something like that before the
Yep.
race. I used to be bacon and eggs, but that was not a good idea until I got to my first 10K. It sort of spiked and then dropped, and that last 7.5 was blimmin' sore. But yeah, it was definitely learning things like, I mean, I obviously need to get something substantial in my stomach before a race. I mean, whether it be porridge or some sort of, I don't know, oats or something like that in the
Yeah.
morning, and then just try to get as much in, but not too much, too close as well. So
Yeah.
you should try to go for a banana before the race.
Do you swim like at world champs levels? Do you take a gel or anything like that with you?
Yeah, so yeah, obviously, when we race, yeah, we have. I usually take gels. Usually, I have to have one before the race. I mean, there's always the tactics that people chuck gels in their suits. So obviously, the feeding pontoon, we get a concoction of stuff that's handed to us, and but sometimes people miss those feeds, or your cup might get knocked out or something like that, and they've just got that backup of a gel in the wetsuit, or say in your togs, just in case if plan A fails. But yeah, I take gels.
Okay.
Cool.
What's next? What's the next couple of months for Alex Dunkley?
Um, at the moment, I mean, I've just sort of returned back to the pool, so I'm off to camp next week, which I'm not looking forward to because that's going to be blooming tough. But hey, just got to put up with it. Definitely felt a lot better this morning, that's for sure. But I mean, heading forward, I mean, the big goal is to try complete the three-peat at Taupo in the 10K. Um, Definitely, that's the main goal at the moment is to go for that again. I mean, take out the banana boat series again. It's the other goal, but I mean, waiting until the World Cup circuit comes out with all the dates and whatnot, whether there's a Hong Kong and whether I can get enough funding to help me get over there. Because it was booming tough because we get bugger all funding from Swimming New Zealand.
Yeah.
So it's booming tough. Like I think we got told the Australians paid $1,500 and we
Yeah.
had to fork out, I think it was 10 grand without flights
Yeah.
to get over
It's
there.
crazy, hey? Absolutely
It's
crazy.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
it's
Come on,
booming
guys, let's
expensive.
help Swimming New Zealand. Let's get our swimmers out there, man.
Yeah.
Jim, where's your piggy
So,
bank?
my piggy bank. I don't think my piggy bank's going to help.
Mm. Hey, so Alex, we're going to probably start wrapping up now, but I was just thinking
yep.
about those future careers, right? Your future potential would be a grinder.
Yep.
We interviewed a blind swimmer a couple of weeks ago, and there's a role called a tapper where they sit and they tap on the heads of the swimmers before they need to tumble to him. That's my next
Yep.
career. Is I'm going to be a tapper. So you'll be a
There you
grinder.
go.
I'll be a tapper. What are you going to be, Jim?
I'm going to just, I'm happy with my career. I'm going to stay a plonker.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Alex, it's been really cool to chat to you, dude. Thank you so much. We will be following your successes over the next couple of months. We'll definitely be down at Taupo and flying the Alex flag for you. And yeah, good luck with all that you attempt. And dude, I'm pretty sure that whatever you put your mind to and put your head to, you'll make a massive success out of it, dude. I do think if you had to have a haircut, you'd maybe go a little bit quicker. I'm just saying.
I might take that advice. I definitely do need one now. It's definitely gotten out of hand once again. But thank you guys for having me on this. I really enjoyed it.
Fantastic. It was great talking to you. And yeah, I look forward to seeing how things progress. Cheers, Alex.
Thank you, guys. It's been pretty cool. First ever podcast I've done. So
really? Oh, that's cool.
I'm pretty sure it'll be the first of many, dude.
Well, that was the Clever Dicks podcast, hosted by myself, Jim West, and Duncan Cookard. As always, we'd appreciate any comments or suggestions that you may have. It may be people to interview or topics to cover. If you want to send us some comments, you could use email and go to cleverdicksnz@gmail.com or drop us a comment on Instagram at clever_dicks. If you did enjoy this episode, please tell your friends about it. It'll really help us grow the podcast. See you in the water. Bye.